All right, this is a donut for, let me just say this December. This is class 1. Notes. So let's have a quick introduction for everyone. So since it's a class first, and please update today date is right. So the course content is you already aware about. So what are we going to talk about? We would be talking about the standard, uh, you know, AZ104 Microsoft recommendation, AZ104. This is a course we would be talking about one by one, right? So manage Azure identity and implement manage storage, deploy and manage Azure compute resources, implement and manage virtual networking, and monitor and maintain Azure resources. So once you become completed of this course, you will be able to handle for all the Azure resources, which are these networking, Azure Active Directory, virtual machine, and storage. Now, before we talk about this cloud, let's understand that is in the two things we have, right, which is called on-prem environment and we have the cloud. Why we need to choose the cloud, right? Why we need to choose the cloud and what are the limitation, what are the challenges in the on-premises, and then we would be going to talk about quickly for the portal access. We need to have that is in portal access. Everyone would need for which is https portal.azure.com, right? We need to have that is in account to be created for free subscription, right? And there are some terminology we need to talk about towards our journey. Those terminologies are, we are always talking about subscription. We always talk about resource group. We always talk about region, right? These three things are mandatory for any resource you are going to create. Keep in mind, we should know that is in what is subscription, what is resource group, what is region. So because any resource you are going to create, these three are mandatory options to be filled up, and then we would be going to talk about each service. So we have that is in service talking about. So first service we'll go talk about Azure networking, right? And we'll talk about Azure virtual machine, virtual machine. We'll talk about Azure Active Directory, which is called Entra ID, and we will be talking about Azure storage, and we'll be talking about Azure backup and restore, and we'll talk about Azure monitor. Monitor, just you can see Azure monitor. So these are services we are going to talk about towards our journey, right? Just keep in mind, we will be going to talk about very basic level to make sure that is in your understanding for the cloud infrastructure, how it is designed, and after completion of this training, you should be thoroughly, practically should able to understand, and you can say confidently, I can handle for my cloud infrastructure support, right? So before moving to this portal and creating account and talking about the subscription and talking about the services, let's understand the reason why I need to and what is cloud. What is cloud, right? So then we'll talk about what are the benefits of cloud. Right? Maybe you guys know already few things, but just wanted to have to overview of these things, right? So when we talk about the on-prem or cloud, what do you mean by on-prem here? Anyone know this? What is mean by on-prem environment? We can say on-prem environment. We always
The
talk of, yeah,
the
sorry, go.
servers, sorry, the servers which are on site or on location, you can call it as on-prem servers,
We can say physically
physically active.
physical server,
Yeah.
right? We can call as a data center, physical data center, where we are connected to all the servers physically, right? I can say data center. DC means data center, right? And dedicated network should be configured, must be configured, right? Right? And dedicated uh, manpower and maintenance needed, right? Manpower and maintenance needed. And most important, it is expensive, right? High cost. So overall, we would be handling our infrastructure physically, right? On-prem environment. We know that already. We are handling this all, whatever we talk about this network, virtual machines, active directory storage, all already we are handling with this remotely accessing, and we are supporting this, right? But now Microsoft has suggested. Now, obviously, when you talk about the overall at the month end or at the overall year end, what would be the expense or what would be the cost we are spending of this environment, right? Cost means what? We need to consider for this your place or land rent, right? Or you are talking about the hardware maintain, and you need to talk about the software license, right? Software license, we all need to consider, right? And sometime maintenance, you can say there is every year or after 2 year we have to have upgrade or migrate our resources, right? These are all headache we are having, and it's a huge cost in cost would be involved, right? And operating system license, this is also be considered, right? And ultimately we need to think about if anything is impacted of the critical applications, critical database, critical servers, how soon we are uh, resolved for this is which is called as a high availability, right? Keeping in mind of this, there are few disadvantages, there are few limitations we are faced every day-to-day operations activity, correct? So now, currently, every business people, right? Every business, every customer looking for the trend is got changed. People are looking for optimization, reduce the cost, and automation. This is what people are looking currently. Even when the resource, when the candidate hiring to the position, the respective IT support, they would be looking for the candidate or that employee should be having how smart you are working with the optimizing the work, reduce the manual work, and overall the cost must be reduced, and the business people will not willing to, you know, willing to will not be willing to much expensive for anything, right? I think you hear that is in every day every day there is a company's resource, I mean company news we are getting saying that is in these many companies employees are laid off, these many companies are cross cutting, something we hear, right? Very after the COVID we are hearing for the very frequently. Why they are reducing the, cross cutting, why they are laying off the employee, and keep on their cross cutting doing? Because the things are changing now, that is in many automations are involved, artificial intelligence are coming into the picture now, that is in Microsoft and other vendors also be into the part of to reduce this all whatever we are doing, this more on manual work, right? More on manual work in this, right? So these are all, we have a limitation in this, we are spending a lot of money, and there is a lot of maintenance, and we are spending for the hardware product for the hardware product for the money, and the software product license, everything we need to do, that is our own. But what Microsoft has suggested, specifically this is Azure, Microsoft product is Azure, says that is across worldwide Microsoft Azure, worldwide worldwide they have created a data center. Whatever we are doing the data center, right here, physical data center, the same physical data center Microsoft is already created with a high faster fiber used, and the whatever we needed, all the services they have in placed, the data center created. Now Microsoft saying that is in, you do not use this all the physical infrastructure if you are in startup, or you are uh, already in place your infrastructure, and you can make some things to move to the cloud and see this how it is, and ultimately it is a reduce the cost, right? Reduce the cost, and you do not have any headache, right? You do not have to worried about your operating system, your hardware, right? And your upgradation, and taken care for the high availability, everything is taken care by Microsoft. Microsoft says you for the infrastructure as a service, right? Infrastructure as a service, you tell me what you needed, we are ready to provide you, and you just pay what you use, right? The best example I would give you, few of example, instead of buying a car, we can hire the car, where we have the provided services who are there, Uber is there, or Ola is there, right? Yes or no? And in this, when we hire the car, we don't worry about car driver. Car driver, we don't need it. Car parking, we don't worried about. Fuel, we don't worried about. Car maintenance, we don't worried about. Yes or no? You agreed or not? And what else? You just travel. We just travel. How much distance we travel, and pay accordingly. Yes or no? So when you buy the car, it's a very, you know, recommended, very much needed, then you're buying a car. Obviously you would need for the parking place, obviously you need for the driver, or you can have a own car, you need to have the every month fuel, you need to have them maintain. But ultimately how much you are using, you are use or not use, but you have to spend a lot of money, right? When you buy a car, you have to initial investment, it would be minimum more than 5 lakh, which is very, lowest model, or lowest features car. If you're buying minimum 5 lakh rupees Indian rupees for the investment, along with you have this all the maintenance, it's an additional cost for you, right? But how much utilizing, how much you are using